latest report about world states border dispute reality, is made by M.U. Khan for A World People's Voice. The whole world states today are using the diversionary theory of war. According to the diversionary theory of war, unpopular world leaders generate foreign policy crises to both divert the public's attention away from the discontent with their rule and bolster their political fortunes through a rally around the flag effect. I argue that the puzzling lack of clear empirical support for the theory may be due to the underspecification of the theoretical mechanism through which the public reacts to the particular issue at the center of the diversionary crisis. Because people tend to react to territorial issues intensely, the embattled leader could attempt to manipulate and exploit this proclivity by launching specifically a territorial conflict. By linking government unpopularity with the initiation of militarized territorial conflicts and crises in a global sample of countries, this territorial diversion argument receives strong empirical support. The initiation of fatal militarized disputes over territory is, in addition, linked to economic underperformance. What causes war? Among others, domestic unrest has been regarded as one of the factors contributing to interstate war. Many scholars, pundits, and policymakers have emphasized internal troubles to account for the occurrence of international wars, including the Falklands War, World Wars I and II, the Russo-Japanese War, and the Imshin War, Japan's invasion of Korea in the late 16th century. Especially since the end of the Cold War, following the theoretical and methodological suggestions in Levy 1989, cited under general overviews. International relations scholars have paid increasingly more attention to domestic unrest and its interaction with other factors such as regime, type and strategic rivalry to explain interstate and intrastate conflict. By taking different methodologies, such as quantitative statistical analysis, in-depth case study, and formal modeling, they build causal processes linking domestic unrest to international conflict, identify various factors at the levels of the individual, state, and triad affecting the onset of a diversionary conflict, and provide empirical evidence supporting or disproving their theories. General overviews. The main idea underpinning the diversionary theory of war is that domestic unrest is one of the major causes of war. When faced with domestic challenges to their leadership, political leaders tend to initiate interstate conflict, diverting domestic attention to foreign affairs and staying in power. How does this work? As Haynes 2017 suggests, at least two rationales can be identified for the embattled leader's choice of diversionary conflict to ensure political survival. The first derives from the rally round the flag effect. Many social psychologists have insisted that an individual favors in-group members to out-group members irrespective of prior interaction, and that an external threat strengthens the in-group out-group bias. Indeed, Tyler 2018 shows that political leaders' domestic popularity increases as the imminence of foreign threat and international conflict rises. The second rationale highlights the political opportunity to prove leadership competence. Richards, al. 1993 points out that leaders who lose domestic support due to their policy failures or unjust behaviors need an opportunity to prove their leadership capability. winning an international conflict offers such an opportunity to restore domestic support and save their political lives. A diversionary foreign policy, or a diversionary war, is an international relations term that identifies a war instigated by a country's leader in order to distract its population from their own domestic strife. The concept stems from the diversionary war theory, which states that leaders who are threatened by domestic turmoil occasionally initiate an international conflict in order to shift the nation's attention away from internal troubles. As a result, this external threat would counter the domestic strife and ensure the leader's position in power. Essentially, a diversionary use of force is a manipulation of the rally-round-the-flag syndrome effect, causing an increase of national fervor from the general public. Many scholars of international relations have dedicated much research to the practical application of diversionary war. A large percentage investigates presidents of the United States and their disputed culpability partaking in diversionary foreign policy. Despite the immense amount of effort and research, scholars have not yet formed a consensus of the accuracy of the theory, and empirical evidence is mixed at best. Generally, the pursuit of a diversionary foreign policy may offer the leader in power four benefits, all of which increase their ability to remain in power. A diversionary foreign policy could increase support for the domestic regime. This in turn increases the government's time to address their internal trouble. Artificial tension created from the international conflict may justify a leader's suppression of dissent. The war abroad could cause the population to simply be distracted from the issues that induced the original dissatisfaction with the government. The external threat may unify the country through the rally-round-the-flag syndrome effect by creating a new outgroup other than the government for the population to direct its dissatisfaction. However, all of these benefits depend on success in the diversionary war that the government facing domestic strife incites. Failure in these international actions would backfire against the leader's initial intent. As a result, the leader would likely face more domestic strife, possibly hastening his or her loss of power. Nevertheless, this possible negative effect is addressed in the diversionary war theory. The theory itself states that rational leaders facing a near inevitable removal from office become more likely to gamble on a risky diversionary war. If the existing dissatisfaction is prompting their removal from office, a diversionary foreign policy only leaves room for gain. Evolution. Although the theory was not officially addressed in academia until the past half-century, the benefits of a diversionary foreign policy had long been accepted by governments and others as conventional wisdom. The people have the weakness that they aren't able to see that their ruling class is fooling them through diversionary theory of war. In 1956, Simmel and Lewis A. both published work applying the in-group-out-group psychology hypothesis towards international relations. Essentially, their work postulated that populations of nations increase their cohesion during times of conflict with an outgroup, another nation, organization, etc.